So happy. It is Thursday. I'm so ready for the weekend. Okay, your girl got her hair braided down again until I figure out what I'm going to do with my hair, whatever. At least it doesn't look as wild and crazy as it has been looking this week. Okay, give your girl some grace. Anyway, you guys, it's Sunshine here, back at you with another video, okay? Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, okay? Subscribe. It's free. Why not? Okay, we're going to talk about some good stuff here. Anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the Keefe D trial versus Tupac. So today we listened to some more of the proffer agreement and interviews that Keefe D did. The police were asking him about how he ended up being the one to be in the car to take out Tupac and Suge Knight. So Keefe D told a story. He said he had met Diddy a couple years before the Tupac incident happened, and he said one time when he met when he met Diddy, I'm all over the place. Oh my goodness, give me some grace, okay? Anyway, he said he met with Diddy and a whole bunch of other people. It kind of sounds like some type of gang reunion or like a gang meeting, allegedly. Okay, this is all my opinion. Okay, and I'm rephrasing this in my own tone, right? And so he said that Diddy said in front of everyone that was there, and it was a lot of people that was there, and Keefe D even said he was surprised that Diddy put himself on blast like that and said, look, I want their heads. I want their heads. He said, anybody who can give me their heads, I got you. So allegedly, Keefe D said he was shocked that Diddy would put that out there like that, and he would say that in front of such a big crowd, because people talk, And he said the next time he met Diddy, and I didn't get if he was called, to handle the job or whatever. But anyway, he said it was just him, Diddy. What is the other guy name? Zip. And a couple other people. He said it wasn't many people at all. And he said Diddy asked Keefe D if he could handle the job. And he told him, yeah, he could handle it. And he told him he would give him $1 million. So that was the bounty that was out. So hold up. Let me handle my dirty work. But anyway, so Diddy asked him if he could handle the job. He said yes. Diddy told Keefe D that Zip was going to handle everything for him once he got everything done. So then he said that when the night of the actual incident, the powing, he said he was staying at the MGM hotel, and he actually was in the restaurant there at the time when Orlando Anderson got jumped. And he said, and he was asked, well, why was he in a restaurant and Orlando Anderson was out there by himself? On the camera, it showed him alone. He wasn't with anyone. And and Keefe D said he wasn't sure why Orlando Anderson was standing by himself, which I don't believe that. Because if y'all in the gang, okay, y'all in Vegas, why y'all ain't together? Y'all separate? Okay, I don't believe that. I don't. I feel like maybe, in my opinion, I feel like Orlando Anderson was out there to be the watchdog, to find out where they were actually at, so then they can, and Keefe D was hiding because they probably was just going to follow him. Because the thing about Vegas, especially a night like that, fight night, you could definitely follow somebody because the traffic is going to be so bad, at least trying to get out the hotel, especially the MGM hotel, okay? Because it's not a parking lot for the MGM hotel. You have to do like valet parking, and they have the the parking garage across the street. And so I know because I went to see Usher there and concert one time when I went to Vegas. So I know it's not easy to get in and out the MGM hotel. So I feel like Orlando Anderson was probably there as a watchdog. But anyway, they didn't talk about that. Okay, that's just my opinion. Anyway, so Keefe D said that he was in the when he got word that Orlando Anderson had got jumped, then of course they jumped up whoever he was with, and they went out to look for Suge Knight and Tupac. Now, if you remember the story, okay, because I remember the story, right? So the story went that after Tupac jumped Orlando Anderson, they whole little crew, because I don't really remember Suge Knight doing anything to Orlando Anderson. I don't remember seeing him like do what Tupac was doing. Tupac was pretty much stomping Orlando Anderson in that video. But they went back to the Luxor Hotel, allegedly. Tupac got changed. And Suge Knight did too, because of course he was in a different outfit when he was in the car. So they both went to the Luxor hotel, got changed up, and then the story was that they were headed to to Suge Knight's apartment or something, which I don't know. That don't make sense with that story. Anyway, we know that they went and changed because they had on different outfits from the video showing them jumping on Tupac on Orlando Anderson, and then showing them in the car, Tupac and Suge, that is. So they had on different outfits, so you know they had changed clothes. Anyway, so Keefe D said that they left out and they went to go find Tupac and Suge. And he said they were riding around and they saw girls hanging out the car saying, Tupac, Tupac. And Tupac was hanging out the car window talking to the girls. Now, remember the other day, a couple days ago, one of the witnesses, which was one of the girls who were in that car that was talking to Suge Knight, because she said they wasn't talking to Tupac. She said they were just talking to Suge Knight, because one of the girls, it was 4 girls in the car, and one of the girls knew Suge Knight. So when they pulled up next to them, the girl started talking to Suge Knight, but she said they were real cool. She said no one was hanging out the window. They were real chill. She said Suge Knight was just laid back in his seat. You know how guys be in those seats, right? They be laid back, all relaxed and stuff. She said he was chilling, Tupac was chilling. None of that happened. So Keefe D said that he heard the girls talking out loud, Tupac, Tupac, and then no. So that's not what happened. Anyway, so then Keefe D said they pulled up on, oh no, okay, so I missed the part. So Keefe D said after they jumped, Tupac jumped Orlando Anderson, they went and caught up with Zip. And Zip gave them the weapons because Zip had created some type of like a pocket or something in the car so that they could have access to the weapon, right? You know, the pow weapon. So he said that, so they took the car, which was a rental car. I don't know what kind of rental car, what kind of rental company is renting Cadillacs. I mean, come on, think about it. Like, back then, too, usually, I ain't never heard of renting a Cadillac. I don't know, unless it was like a mom and pop type rental place, and it probably was. Anyway, because think about, they were about to commit a crime, so, of course, they're not going to have, like, you know, something from, like, Enterprise. But anyway, so, he said, Keefe D said once he got word of where to get the weapon from Zip, and Zip is Zip is Diddy's connect, or his like right hand man or something, right? So Keefe D said once he got the info on where the weapon was going to be at, then they went out searching for Suge Knight and Tupac, and then of course they ran up on him. The girls were hollering, screaming, and then the girls had pulled up, and then Keefe D said they pulled up right next to Suge Knight and Tupac, and then the bang bang happened, and he said they left, and he said they actually like turned the first corner, just like the girl said. She said when they turned the first corner, trying to the first right, made the first right, trying to get out of the way of the bullets flying everywhere. She said Keefe D them. Well, she didn't know. She didn't identify Keefe D being in the car, but she said the car that was doing the pow powing, they turned down the same road as them. So anyway, Keefe D said they drove, and they were trying to just get out of Dodge. They parked the car somewhere, and they put the pow pow on one of the tires. So you can't tell where the pow pow is at if you put it on top of the tire. So, and he said they walked to like a parking garage or something where the incident was still going on, and he said it was a whole bunch of police and ambulance out there, and he said Tupac and Suge Knight were still in the car, and him and his crew were just on the balcony of the parking garage just watching the whole thing go down, with the police doing the investigation, putting up the ribbon or whatever out there, looking for the bullets or whatever. He said they was just watching it the whole time, and they felt nervous that the police was probably going to come and find them, but he said nobody bothered them at all. Anyway, he said allegedly they went home that night back to LA, to California. So anyway, so the police asked, because this was the interview during the proffer agreement. So the police asked, well, did you meet up with P. Diddy to get your money, the money? And he said, so Diddy told him that Zip was going to pay him. And he said he kept contacting Zip, and then Zip, he couldn't get in touch with Zip, and he realized, and he said he believed that Zip took the money. So, so the police asked Keefe D if he would like set up Diddy so that they could get it on, get it as evidence. And Keefe D said, yeah, but he said it's probably going to be hard because I forgot what was the reason he said why, but he said it's probably going to be hard with Diddy. But remember, at the same time, Diddy was telling Keefe D that he felt like he was being investigated by the feds. So that's probably why he knew it wasn't going to go down like that, And then, so the police asked him, well, do you think you could talk to Zip? Would you be able to get Zip on, recorded saying, agreeing to any of this? And Keefe D agreed to do that. He even made an appointment with Zip. Zip and Diddy, of course, live in New York City. Okay. So Keefe D at this time, they were in Los Angeles. So he got wired up, flew on a plane and went to New York City to meet with Zip. And then Zip stood him up and sent like his son. I thought he said his sons, but he said he sent somebody else. So he knew that, they probably was like, nah, we ain't playing with you like that. Anyway, so he wasn't able to see Zip. He didn't get the money. He said he never did get the money. He felt like they played him, or maybe Zip took the money and kept the money for himself. So he said that Keefe D also said that after the pow pow went down, he said everybody and their mama was calling him. He said Diddy even called him and said, is that us? Is that us? And he told Diddy, yeah, that was us. He said even Faith Evans called him and asked, is that us? Now that, to me, I'm not surprised about Faith Evans calling. First of all, how she know Keefe D information? How does she know Keefe D phone number? But I always felt, even back then, I felt like, like I couldn't trust Faith Evans. I felt like she was a setup, like she was a plant. And I still believe that to this day, that she was a plant. Diddy probably used her, because remember, she had her own singing career, but she didn't start her career until after Biggie was already out doing his thing. And then here she come all out the blue, okay? She had High Yellow, right? I ain't trying to say nothing bad, but of course, a man gonna want her. The hottest guy at the time, which was either Tupac or Biggie, and of course she in New York City, so Biggie gonna be your choice. He's the hottest guy, but she never seemed like she was really interested in Biggie, in my opinion. When they did interviews, when they were places together, it always looked like she wanted to be separate from him. And remember now, allegedly, while she was messing with Biggie, I think was they even married then? I think that Faith Evans was married to Christopher Wallace, which is Biggie, Notorious Big. I believe they were married during the time when she went to LA and allegedly messed with Tupac. And then Tupac took pictures of her the next day with her on his lap and at the studio with him. And then he wrote a song about it. Like, here you go. Anyway, we ain't got the song, but I'm playing. But y'all know what I'm saying. But anyway, so yeah, okay. But why would Faith Evans, how would she get Keefe D's number? Why would she want Keefe D's number? Keefe D is a mess. He's the mess to me, and not like messy, like dressed in like. Just listen to him talk. Why would you talk to him? Like, I don't mean no harm, but I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be nice. So anyway, moving on from that. So this brings up a big thing in my opinion, because I was wondering. I was like, now, are they going to bring it up? Because you know that all of a sudden now Keefe D is saying that Reggie Wright Jr. had something to do with Reggie Wright Jr. was the one who orchestrated taking Tupac out. And what it sounds like is, just reminds me of a movie. It seems like you have this one person, right? You have this main person. And then you got a couple groups of people who don't like that person. And they all trying to figure out how I'm going to get at that person right there. And they may even come together, okay? Because as we know, okay, allegedly Reggie Wright Jr. is in a gang. He's a gang member. And he had dealings with some of Diddy people, if not just Diddy, and also with Suge Knight, because allegedly he was working for Suge Knight. Remember, he was supposed to be, allegedly, he was running Death Row when Suge got locked up one of those times before this time right here. So, it's definitely possible. If you're thinking about a murder or a takeout for hire, some people will be willing to do that. Sometimes it could be your own friend. Okay, wasn't it Judas who had something to do with Jesus or something like that? I don't know. Y'all know what I mean, right? So sometimes it could be the one you think you trust, the one you think is the good friend, and the whole time they'll be sneaky behind your back setting you up, right? But yeah, so it could have been any of them. But in the Biggie case now, okay, allegedly it was LAPD that took him out. And remember, he was actually in Los Angeles at the time. And allegedly, he didn't want to be in Los Angeles because he had messed up his leg, because he was supposed to go to the studio. Little C's picked him up in the truck, I guess, like being his driver. And they got in an accident because the brakes went out in the truck. Now, do y'all remember that story? Okay, tell me if you ever heard that story. So they got in an accident. No one passed away, but Biggie ended up messing his leg up. And then his leg was messed up, and Diddy was telling him that he needed to come to LA. So allegedly, he didn't want to go to LA because his leg was messed up, and he didn't think it was safe because of the heat that was going on. A lot of people were talking about, Bad Boy had something to do with the death row situation with Tupac. So Biggie, who's not a part of, I'm pretty sure, didn't have anything to do with the unaliving of Tupac, probably don't know what's going on because Keefe D never talked about Biggie being a part of those conversations or being around when Diddy was talking about, wanting to hire somebody to take Tupac and Suge Knight out. So, but Biggie said he was forced to go to Los Angeles, and then I thought it was strange that he goes there. Diddy makes the whole thing about him, right? I believe they had a party at the museum. Diddy like pretty much boost him up, was, like showing him off real big. They leave a little bit early, okay? Diddy gets in one car. Biggie gets in the car behind. They stop at a light. Well, the light was changing. Allegedly, if you listen to Gene Deal said, P. Diddy said, don't miss that light. Go, 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 go. And Gene Deal said they went through that light, but Biggie didn't, but the car Biggie was in right behind them, they stopped at the light. And then that's when someone ran up on Biggie's side of the car, knew exactly where he was at in the car, and then pow, 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 and took him out. He was, on arrival, right? So, and then allegedly it was the Nation of Islam. That's what it was. Nation of Islam is what I was trying to think of the other day when I was saying I thought it was a group, the Muslim group. It was the Nation of Islam that I heard allegedly back then, because I remember this, when this happened. I remember it. And allegedly, a lot of people were saying Nation of Islam had something to do. A guy who was dressed like he was a part of the Nation of Islam was seen running up on Biggie's side of the car and then just pow, 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 and took him out. I thought it was strange how in both situations, in both unalivings, there was no like security guard with actual guns. Like, where's the security? So P. Diddy had the security with him, but allegedly, let Gene Deals tell you, he said that night, Diddy said he didn't want no security, but he told Gene to come with him. And I can't remember if Gene said he was strapped. But if you think about it, in the Tupac case, allegedly, Suge Knight told the security that he didn't want them with them. So they didn't have anyone with them or around them. They even had an entourage. They had a couple cars with them that was behind them, but no one had weapons because they were told that they could not have weapons, allegedly by Suge Knight. And then in the Biggie case, allegedly by Diddy. Okay, so I'm thinking, oh, okay, I see where this is going. This now makes me feel like, in the case of Diddy, with that whole trial, that looked like now to me, because I told you I was not satisfied with the way the trial went, because they could have charged him for a lot more things, but they didn't. And it didn't make sense. It was the weapons, it was the rugs with the D. Like, those to me seem like would have been easy charges that could have got him years, okay? More than what he's doing, allegedly. So anyway, I feel like now it could have been a setup to be like, oh, okay, we're going to let you think everything is fine. And then now they have this case with Keefe D, and they're bringing up Diddy part in the whole, case. excuse me. And to me, it makes me feel like Diddy's going to have to testify. How can he get out of testifying? To me, it seems like Suge Knight's going to have to testify. Like, how can you get out of that? I don't know how they can get out of that. If Diddy doesn't testify, if Suge Knight doesn't testify, then we know, okay, this is for entertainment purposes. Because I already told y'all, I don't believe they're actually trying to crack this case. I don't. I feel like this is just play. Something to waste taxpayers' dollars. Okay, got people all up in court and stuff. I don't feel like this is something they actually are taking serious. To me, the only way that's going to be proven that they are taking it serious is if they get Diddy on trial. Okay, of course he's going to deny everything, wouldn't you? We already know that, okay? I'm not sure if Zip still is alive, if he's still here, if he could testify, you know. But it's going to get real interesting, okay? Because if those two people don't testify, then I know it's shady. Something is not right. And why would they even bring this case up is crazy to me. Because they could have been brought it up. I think Keefe D started talking about the case, and you know, right after Biggie passed away, up into the early 2000s. So it's been almost 30 years later, and now they're bringing it up. It's very suspicious to me. Very suspicious. But yeah, I really feel like Diddy's going to have to testify. And then Reggie Wright, of course, they had him day 1 or 2. I can't remember. He testified. And I'm thinking all the stuff Keefe D is saying about him being crooked, having being a part of the unaliving of Tupac, okay? Unaliving, all this is alleged, okay? Unaliving people for Suge. Like, I know the case is not about Reggie Wright Jr. in particular, but if he had something to do with that case, seemed like they would have to bring it up. So it seemed like to me, now he should have to get back on that stand again. I'm thinking it's probably not going to be our last time seeing Reggie Wright Jr. up there on that stand. Because with everything Keefe D has said, and this was all in 1998. Okay? So if Keefe D was lying, okay, then, I mean, ain't no telling what the repercussions are going to be for lying, even when you had a proffer agreement. So the proffer agreement is only for that case that you're working on. And it doesn't necessarily give you immunity, but I guess it does, but it's just for that case. It's not for anything ever, amen. Okay? It's not for all the other crimes you commit after that, like writing a book talking about unaliving that you participated in. So why it's being brought up again and in the state of Las Vegas is strange, because remember, I'm sorry, yeah, did I say Las Vegas? Yeah, the case is being held in, the trial is being held in Las Vegas. Now remember, originally, LA took over the Tupac case, which allegedly that was supposed to be because they were actually in the works of setting up or finding out, investigating Suge Knight and Diddy. So somehow Los Angeles was able to work out taking over the case from Vegas. But now Vegas is handling the case again. And in the state of Nevada, you don't even have to hold a gun. The pow-pow. You don't even have to hold the pow-pow to be charged. If you're in the car with people who committed a crime, you can be locked up and receive the same amount of sentencing as the person who actually unalived someone. So allegedly, that's why the case is going on now, because of that reason. So Keefe D did say in recorded documents that Zip gave him the weapon. He had the weapon in a compartment up under the glove box. And when they saw Suge Knight and Tupac, they pulled up beside him or them. And then Keefe D said that he got the weapon and put it to the back. And he said Orlando Anderson, his nephew, was the one who unalived them. Now, I do remember hearing something about it was a lot of Pow Pows being shot, but allegedly the police didn't find that many casings. So when you shoot, okay, and a bullet come out, you're gonna have a casing or a shell. And allegedly, it wasn't that many shells, but a lot of people have testified that they heard a lot of shots. Child, this whole thing is crazy. Like I said, I really hope there's going to be some justice. It just made me wonder, like, it's no way that Diddy could get out of not having to at least testify against or testify, and tell his story. How is he going to be able to get around this? How is Suge Knight going to be able to get around this? Because to me, I feel like Suge Knight, in my opinion, I feel like Suge Knight probably told Reggie Wright Jr. he wanted him to do the unaliving of Tupac. Could have been because of jealousy. Could be because he thought he was leaving. A lot of people said that he was getting his record label together, or he was in the works of doing that, because when Suge Knight was able to help Tupac get out of jail, he didn't pay any money. I think a record label paid the money to get Tupac out, which was like $1 million or so. Now, before Tupac went to jail, he didn't even have $1 million to get himself out. He stayed there for an extremely long time, all because he didn't have the money to get himself out. So then Suge Knight came, allegedly, met with him a couple of times. Allegedly, there was a deal worked out with a record label for Tupac to do a certain amount of albums. And then Tupac agreed. He was let out. He went straight to Death Row, okay, the record label. And then he immediately went and made music. And allegedly, he had so much music that he had already completed the contract with the deals. Like, say he had to do 10 records or something, right? Allegedly, he had did all 10 records. So, in my opinion, I'm thinking, and this is all alleged, it's my opinion, I'm thinking Suge Knight probably was feeling like, oh, you think you big and bad, huh? You think you gonna get up out of this contract like that? Okay, you think you gonna go and live your best life? All right, and I'm the one who it looked like, okay, got you out, because back then, everyone was thinking Suge Knight had got, or he had paid for Tupac to get out of jail. But rumor has it that he got a record label to get him out of there. So, I don't know. We don't know. But of course, that's probably going to come up in the court case. If it doesn't, during this trial, if it doesn't, then something ain't right. Something ain't right. But anyway, you guys, y'all let me know how y'all feel about the update in the Tupac case here against Keefe D. Do y'all feel like he's going to be charged? It's like, why not? To me, with that being the case, that if you're involved in a crime, whether you actually pulled the trigger, or if whether or not you had something to do with it at all. If you was just sitting in the car, you're guilty by association in the state of Nevada. So I'm thinking Keefe D is going to have to do some major time. Now, mind you, I believe he's been in there for at least 2 years, I think. I'm thinking it's at least 2 years or approaching 2 years. So hopefully they won't try to, play in our face and be like it's time served, or give him like a couple months or something and say time served, because now it's like, well, why y'all wasting our time? Okay. Oh, and then allegedly there was some pow going on around the courthouse. And rumor has it that someone was trying to send a message to people, but I don't know. We don't know, but I'm gonna stay up on it. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. Okay, give me a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. Let me know how y'all feel about this case. Where do y'all think this case is gonna go? Do you feel like there's going to be some justice and Keefe D will be locked up for this? Or do you feel like, no justice is going to happen? They just playing in our face. Y'all let me know. I'm probably going to do a poll to find out how you guys feel. But yeah, y'all let me know, okay? Participate in the poll. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Again, I really do appreciate it, you guys. I'm slowly, like the turtle, okay, creeping to that my first goal, which is 1,000 subscribers. But I'm so excited that I keep going and my channel is growing. And then a couple people are like posting comments like, oh my goodness, y'all, that just makes me so happy. And I just can't. I can't, y'all. That makes me so happy. I don't care if you agree with me or not. Okay, the fact that you took the time out to watch my video and make a comment just means the whole world to me. Like, you don't even know, okay? So it doesn't matter if you agree with me or not. Maybe you can say something that make me feel some type of way, okay? Feel some type of way differently, that is. And enlighten me in a way. So definitely leave me a comment. Subscribe to my channel, okay? Help me grow my channel. Why not? You're watching anyway. Just go on and press that subscribe, okay? Give me a thumbs up. Happy Friday Eve. And I'll be back with another video soon. Peace.